For all the dazzling achievements of humanity, the pyramids, the symphonies, the journeys to the stars, one constant, brutal companion has marched alongside us since our very first civilizations: war. It's not merely a series of battles, it's a relentless force that has shaped our societies, fueled our technologies, and etched its scars deeply onto the landscape of our planet. From the clang of a primitive axe to the silent, invisible threat of cyber warfare, understanding this profound and often terrifying aspect of our history isn't just about dates and battles. It's about grasping the very essence of human struggle and our unending quest for power, resources, and survival. Imagine a world before nations, before grand empires, where survival often hinged on the sharpness of a spear and the strength of a small group. This is where the story of war truly begins, in the raw, unfiltered conflicts between tribes. These weren't clashes over ideologies, but over the most fundamental necessities: a fertile hunting ground, a vital water source, or perhaps just the sheer dominance of one group over another. The weaponry was simple, often just sharpened stones, clubs, and rudimentary bows, but the stakes were absolute. These early skirmishes, however brutal, laid the groundwork for everything that followed. They taught our ancestors the need for organization, the value of a coordinated attack, and the crushing effectiveness of better tools. As settlements grew and societies became more complex, these lessons didn't vanish, they evolved. The shift from scattered tribes to early city-states, and eventually to colossal empires like Mesopotamia, Egypt, and the mighty Roman Empire, brought with it a systematization of warfare. Suddenly, conflicts weren't just spontaneous outbursts, they were planned campaigns. Armies swelled from dozens to thousands, then tens of thousands, comprising disciplined soldiers rather than just opportunistic warriors. Take the Romans, for instance. Their legions were not just fighters, they were engineers, builders, and strategists. They perfected siege warfare, constructing elaborate ramps and machines to breach formidable walls. And their battlefield tactics, like the disciplined testudo formation, became legendary. The Roman military machine was a marvel of its time, not just in its destructive capacity, but in its ability to project power, enforce law, and leave a lasting cultural and linguistic legacy that echoes even today. This period saw war transform from impulsive violence to a calculated instrument of statecraft, a tool for expansion, control, and the creation of vast, enduring realms. Fast forward to the medieval period, a landscape dominated by towering castles, fortified cities, and the heavy thud of armored knights. Feudalism defined society, and warfare reflected this structure. Knights, the elite warriors of their time, clad in layers of steel, rode into battle, their charge often decisive. But the real game changers of this era were not always on the open field. Sieges became the common, agonizing norm. Armies would encamp outside a castle for months, even years, trying to starve out its defenders or batter down its walls with trebuchets and catapults, sometimes even tunneling beneath them. Castles weren't just homes for lords, they were strategic strongpoints, symbols of power, and crucial defensive fortifications, making territorial control a painstakingly slow and often brutal affair. Then, around the 14th century, a strange, dark powder arrived from the East: gunpowder. Its introduction didn't just change warfare, it blew it apart. Imagine the shock and awe as the first primitive cannons unleashed their thunder, not just throwing stones, but smashing through castle walls that had stood for centuries. Suddenly, the invulnerability of the armored knight began to crumble. A common foot soldier with an early firearm, however inaccurate, could now pose a significant threat to a lord in full-plate armor. This wasn't just a technological upgrade, it was a societal earthquake. The immense cost of cannons and firearms shifted power away from individual feudal lords and towards central monarchies who could afford to equip large armies. The very foundations of feudal society, built on the strength of castles and knights, began to crack under the pressure of this new, terrifying technology. The gunpowder revolution wasn't merely a change in weapons, it was a catalyst for political and social transformation. As Europe emerged from the Middle Ages into the Renaissance and Enlightenment, the nature of war continued its relentless evolution. This wasn't just about bigger guns, it was about bigger ideas. The concept of the nation-state solidified, and with it came the need for large, professional, standing armies, loyal to a king or a parliament, not just a local lord. Military thought matured dramatically. Figures like Niccolò Machiavelli, centuries before, had already analyzed the brutal realities of power and war, seeing them as integral to politics. Later, Karl von Clausewitz would profoundly articulate the idea that war is politics by other means, dissecting strategy, logistics, and the psychological dimensions of conflict. These weren't just theories, they were frameworks that shaped the campaigns of rising empires.
Technology, meanwhile, continued its furious march. Firearms became more accurate, faster to load, and more reliable.
Artillery grew more powerful and mobile. Naval warfare, too, saw incredible innovations, with sailing ships becoming floating fortresses capable of delivering devastating broadsides across vast oceans, projecting power globally. The meticulous drills of musketeers, the synchronized movements of vast infantry lines, and the devastating accuracy of cannons defined battles. It was an era of calculated maneuvers, grand campaigns, and the emergence of military genius as a celebrated, albeit often fearsome, quality. But nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared humanity for the sheer scale of violence unleashed in the 19th and 20th centuries. If earlier wars were destructive, these were cataclysmic. The Industrial Revolution, a period of immense technological advancement, became a grim partner to warfare. Factories could churn out weapons and ammunition on an unimaginable scale, feeding armies of millions. The Napoleonic Wars, at the turn of the 19th century, showed Europe what total war could look like, devastating entire populations and reshaping the continent's map. Decades later, the American Civil War, often considered the first modern war, saw innovations like ironclad ships, trench warfare, and mass-produced firearms leading to casualties that shocked a nation. These conflicts, however, were merely a prelude to the horrors of the 20th century. The First World War, fueled by a toxic brew of nationalism, imperialism, and complex alliances, introduced machine guns, chemical weapons, tanks, and aerial bombing. It devolved into a meat grinder of trench warfare, consuming an entire generation and demonstrating war's capacity for industrial-scale slaughter. Just 2 decades later, humanity plunged into the Second World War, a conflict driven by even more virulent ideologies and fought with even deadlier technology: jet aircraft, radar, guided missiles, and at its terrifying zenith, atomic bombs. Tens of millions perished, cities were annihilated, and the geopolitical order was irrevocably shattered. The subsequent Cold War, though largely fought without direct military confrontation between the superpowers, held the entire world hostage under the chilling shadow of nuclear annihilation. The paradox was stark. These weapons, so powerful they could end civilization, also deterred direct conflict, creating a tense, decades-long standoff, where proxy wars became the battlefields and mutually assured destruction the morbid guarantor of peace. Today, war continues its relentless, brutal evolution. The conventional clash of vast armies is still a reality, but it exists alongside new, unsettling forms of conflict. We see the rise of asymmetric warfare, where non-state actors, often with fewer resources, use guerrilla tactics, terrorism, and information manipulation to challenge powerful nations. Cyber warfare has emerged as a silent, invisible battleground, capable of disrupting infrastructure, stealing secrets, and sowing chaos without a single shot fired. Drones, once the stuff of science fiction, now patrol the skies, conducting surveillance and precision strikes, often remotely operated from thousands of miles away. Artificial intelligence is beginning to play a role, raising profound ethical questions about the future of combat. Yet, despite all these technological transformations, the fundamental drivers of war remain eerily consistent. The pursuit of power, whether global dominance or regional control, still motivates leaders and nations. The desperate scramble for vital resources, oil, water, rare earth minerals, continues to ignite tensions. And the clash of ideologies, be they political, religious, or cultural, still persuades groups to take up arms against one another. These enduring causes highlight the deep complexities of human nature and remind us that while the tools of war change, the human element, with its aspirations and its prejudices, remains at its heart. From the first swing of a stone axe to the silent hum of a cyber attack, the history of war is a stark, powerful narrative of humanity's constant struggle. It's a reminder of our capacity for both incredible innovation and unimaginable destruction. Understanding this journey isn't just about learning history. It's about grappling with a persistent challenge that continues to demand our attention and our best efforts to resolve peacefully. If you're eager to dive deeper into the tactics and technologies of the ancient world, click on the video now.